More than 1 trillion rubles are allocated annually in the federal budget for the development of new regions. In turn, the economy in the DNR, LNR, Kherson and Zaporizhia regions is recovering. The subjects have already paid 170 billion rubles to the country's budget. In April 2023, a program for the socio-economic development of the new regions was approved. The main goal of the program is to bring the standard of living in these territories up to the national average by 2030. The program includes more than 300 priority activities. At the same time, a number of infrastructure projects have already been implemented in the new regions in 2023. Large-scale construction and rehabilitation of housing, utilities and social infrastructure is also ongoing. All these measures will allow for accelerated integration of the new regions into the economic, legal, educational and cultural space of the country. Let's start with the DNR. With the support of the whole country and coordination of the Ministry of Construction of Russia, 4,829 objects are being realized on the territory of the DNR in 2023, including 90 objects of new construction. To date, 3,544 objects have been realized, including 67 medical and 272 educational institutions and more than 2,000 apartment buildings. Attention is paid both to the restoration of the infrastructure and housing stock of the Republic damaged by military operations and to the repair and reconstruction of transportation networks, energy systems, public utilities, as well as to the construction of new residential complexes and social facilities. According to the Ministry of Construction, 26 subjects of Russia are involved in the reconstruction of the DNR, which has taken the march over the cities and districts of the Republic. The works are carried out within the framework of agreements concluded with administrations. More than 21,000 specialists and almost 1,900 units of special equipment are involved. Construction of the new Don-Seversky-Donetsk-Donbass water pipeline was completed. The project envisaged the laying of 2 pipeline strings of 200 kilometers each, the construction of pumping stations, electrical substations and water storage tanks for 10,000 cubic meters. The work was done around the clock. More than 3.5 thousand specialists and 1,300 units of equipment were involved. This project was called unique in terms of complexity and construction time, because it was erected in less than 6 months. The new hydraulic structure for the inhabitants of the southern borders of Russia has increased the volume of water supplied to the population, although it does not cover the entire demand. The construction of a new perinatal center in Donetsk has been completed. The main types of construction and installation works are being completed ahead of schedule. Specialists have already started installing medical equipment. The facility began construction about 10 months ago. It is planned that this perinatal center will be the first state-of-the-art medical facility in the DNR in the field of family planning and reproductive health care. This will entail the reorganization of obstetric, perinatal, neonatal and gynecological services in the Republic and will be a unique example of reorganization of many healthcare sectors in the DNR. Good roads in new regions are one of the factors of their socio-economic development. Both important regional highways and inner-city roads are being repaired in the DNR. The DNR rehabilitated almost 1,200 kilometers of roads in 2023, exceeding the annual plan for municipal road repairs by 20%. The works were carried out mainly on replacement of leveling top layers of wear and tear, curbstone, sidewalk arrangement. As a result, for the year 2023, the DNR's road work exceeded the performance of the previous 6 years. Now let's move on to the LNR. Russian entities that took the march over LNR cities and districts performed repair and restoration work on 656 facilities in 2023. Capital repairs were carried out at 50 social facilities, including 17 schools, 12 kindergartens, 7 healthcare institutions, 8 cultural palaces and village clubs. 250 apartment buildings and 109 individual houses were repaired. More than 140 cultural institutions have undergone current repairs. Construction workers from 33 sponsor regions are involved in the LNR reconstruction. The rehabilitation repair plan for 2023 covered more than 150 settlements of the Luhansk People's Republic. The thick plate shop also restored its production at the Alkesk Medical Combine. Back in 2023, power engineers did a large amount of work to prepare the energy system of the Lugansk People's Republic for the period of maximum loads. The Republican Grid Company repaired more than 500 kilometers of power lines at a cost of more than 270 million rubles. Capital repairs are being completed on 45 high-voltage network facilities at a cost of over 1 billion rubles. Overhaul of 2 power units and preparation of Luganskaya TPP for operation during the period of maximum loads at a cost of over rub 2 billion were completed. The LNR restored 180 kilometers of roads and 14 artificial structures during the year. Road sections with high traffic load are repaired first. Roads on the highways from Orakov and Shestia to Lugansk, from Pervomais to Mikhailovka, from Lugansk to the border with the Anthracite district, and sections of the highway from the capital of the republic to the Krasnaya Tolovka checkpoint. Large-scale road repairs were carried out between Luhansk and Donetsk. We are talking about the section from Lugansk to the Anthracite district of the LNR. 4-lane traffic was opened on the 5-kilometer section of the highway, and the 2-lane pavement was completely replaced on the remaining 23 kilometers. Kherson region. This region has always been an agrarian land, but in the last year the vector has changed, and now a lot of work is aimed at the development of demanded branches of production. These are primarily construction and food processing industries. In 2023, 13 new enterprises opened in the region, and some more large investors are ready to work in Kherson region already in 2024. There is a restoration of what was not paid attention to before: creation of comfortable environment for residents, repair of roads, restoration of communications, reconstruction of transportation, medicine, education. In 2023, 6 assisting regions invested about 1 billion rubles in the development of the region and restored more than 38 socially important objects in the Kherson region. Several MFCs, medical facilities, sports complexes and recreation areas were built from scratch. At the expense of funds allocated from the federal budget, 110 kilometers of regional roads were repaired. In addition, in 2023, the ecosystem of the region is severely damaged by the actions of a country known to all. We are talking about Kakhovskaya HPP. The water level exceeded 10 meters at its maximum levels. The towns of Alyoshki, Golaya Pristan and Novaya Kakhovka were most affected. Dozens of villages and settlements were completely flooded. The number of victims of the ecological disaster exceeded 55 people. Thousands have been evacuated. Flows of water destroyed homes, businesses, and agricultural land. Irreparable damage has been done to the national park. About 23,000 residences were affected. In the wake of the disaster, the region's agrarians have received unprecedented support. The total amount of allocated funds amounted to about 2.5 billion rubles. It will take an estimated 2 to 5 years to restore agriculture in the surrounding areas after the Kakhovskaya HPP dam failure. The authorities of Adygea and Kherson regions signed an agreement on cooperation in the socio-economic sphere, which provides support to all those who suffered as a result of the disaster: schools and kindergartens, restoration of destroyed houses and infrastructure, as well as sanitation. The decision to restore the Kakhovskaya dam has not yet been made. There is data that according to preliminary estimates the cost of its restoration may amount to 50 to 100 billion rubles. Zaporizhia region. About 100 social facilities have been restored in 2023 in this area with the support of the Russian Ministry of Construction and Housing and Communal Services. 49 schools, 19 kindergartens, 13 medical institutions, 16 cultural facilities. The efforts of road builders have laid a modern land corridor from Greater Russia to Crimea through new regions. Now you can drive from Melitopol to Berdyansk in an hour and a half on the renewed highway. For this year, 115 kilometers of regional and local roads of the street road network were brought to the standard condition. The housing and communal services system is being completely renewed in the region. 108 infrastructure utilities were repaired. 25 kilometers of networks, 14 residential buildings, and 25 territories. Among the 4 new regions of Russia, only 2 Zaporizhia and Kherson oblasts can be called agrarian. In 2023, the priority areas of Zaporizhia agro-industrial complex became animal husbandry and crop production. Zaporizhia region has always had the status of a treasury and breadbasket. Last season alone, 1,800,000 tons of grain were harvested, which is 10% more than last year. Some of the grain was even sent to Africa. Now about the road infrastructure of the new territories. The main task on which the authorities of the new regions have been working intensively all year long is the restoration and formation of the United Transport and Logistics Network of the Lugansk and Donetsk People's Republics, the Kherson and Zaporizhia regions and the bordering subjects of Russia. The Avtodor Capital Repair Campaign for 2024 includes more than 200 kilometers of roads in the Donetsk People's Republic. Without waiting for the next year to arrive, we started repairing roads in the DNR to put the most popular routes in order. This will improve transportation accessibility within the region and establish a stable logistical connection with the Rostov region in the Lugansk People's Republic. Now, for example, road builders have started work on the 56-kilometer section of the important regional highway Donetsk-Kartsysk-Ambirozhivka KPP Uspenka. About 130 people and 90 pieces of equipment are involved at the site. Road repairs in 2023 were also completed ahead of schedule in LNR and Kherson Oblast, and began repairing those areas scheduled for 2024. The repair of the 83-kilometer section of the Federal Highway R260 from Rostov region to Lugansk, including the bypass of the LNR capital to the intersection with the Highway R150, has begun. It connects Belgorod, Starobaysk, Lugansk, Donetsk and Mariupol. In Kherson region, also without waiting for next year, began to put in order 18 kilometers of road sections from Perekop to Chaplinka, which had not been repaired for more than 30 years. Utility problem of deteriorated utilities, complex across all new regions. For repairs this year, 25 billion rubles in special treasury loans were allocated to modernize the communal infrastructure of the DNR, LNR, Zaporizhia and Kherson regions. The wear and tear of utility networks in the new regions is more than 80%. Repairs were carried out on sewage pumping stations, water supply networks, sewage treatment plants, boiler houses and almost 7,000 sewage networks. In total, about 9,000 social facilities, residential buildings and infrastructure facilities were restored in the new regions after they became part of Russia, including 183 facilities built from scratch. In the development of the DNR, LNR, Kherson and Zaporizhia regions, in addition to funding from the federal budget, other Russian regions have already invested an additional 150 billion, and about 100 billion more is planned. Development, integration, construction, modernization literally in all spheres of life of the territories is similar work. Roads are being especially actively restored, their transformation is noted by the residents of all four new subjects. The year 2023 passed in the DNR, LNR, Zaporizhia and Kherson regions under the sign of big construction. All this not only accelerates the integration of the territories, but also guarantees residents the existing improvement in the quality of life.